listening to the Ball Talk podcast with me, Ryan Bailey. This podcast is brought to you by Adapt Athletic Performance and Therapy. Head over to Instagram and give them a follow at adapt_clinic. If you enjoyed this podcast, don't forget to leave a like, share it with your friends, and hit that subscribe or follow button as well. Without further ado, let's get straight into the podcast. This is episode number 54 of the Ball Talk podcast, as always brought to you by Adapt Athletic Performance and Therapy. And today's guest is a man that I never thought that I could actually get onto the podcast. And I can still remember the first time you were in the showground, sat above the dugouts and all of us going absolutely mental when we saw you first. It's Pascal Millien. Pascal, you're very welcome to the podcast.
Man, it's a pleasure, man. It's a pleasure to be here with you, man. I know it's taking forever before we can even get this thing going, man. But for me, I'm so humble to be here, and especially, talking to my fans. I think that's my best fans, to be honest, and it's my lovely fans in Sligo, all island, pretty much. All the league and the people around the love, and they showed me when I was there, man. And I want to say hello to everybody.
Good stuff. So the first question, Pascal, I have for you, before we go into Sligo Rovers. Now, I saw on your Instagram story last night, you were driving in the car, you had a bit of Bob Marley on in the background. I'm giving you an opportunity of a lifetime. So I'm giving you a golden ticket, okay? And that golden ticket says Pascal Millien's Dream Concert. So you can have any three dead or alive acts, bands, solo singers, whoever you want. So this will give people a feel for the type of music you like. Now, I had Raf on the podcast, and Raf said he'd throw a bit of Spice Girls in there. He'd throw something a bit different in. So what about yourself, Pascal?
Bob Marley is. I think his music. It's funny. His music is inspiring me, in any level. It doesn't matter, what mood you're in. If you listen to him, if you listen to his words, his music, it's like the soul of the song, like the music itself, and he make it sound so realistic. So that means you can have that. Bob Marley is gonna be all time my favorite. And I like this guy. For me, I don't have a chance, to see him live. But his music. Who's not listening to Bob Marley? Who never listened to Bob Marley? Yeah. Just think about it. Any kids. Like I said, and that's every day for me. So that's every day. I take in my car, and I got my car is actually have like a radio, it's a Bob Marley radio. I'm just talking. That's who I listen, and nothing against any all new generation, that type of music. I love music. I do music myself, but listen to Bob Marley every day. It got me going. Got me in the mood and stuff like that, man. Bob Marley is always going to be the all time for me.
Yeah. You see, usually when I ask this question, people will give their three, but I think it's fair to say that you'd be quite happy to just have Bob Marley up on the stage on his own. And nobody.
Because the reason why I start with Bob Marley is because, I got so many good music, so many good artists that I love. It's hard to pick, the top three. Bob Marley, there's no question out right here. The Bob Marley is going to be the all-time. So again, and, if I have to pick, that's a lot. Yeah. I got a lot because I'm a music guy. I love music, any type of music. Listen, I can't even pick, the top three. Yeah. I'm just trying to stay with Bob Marley. Sure.
So next up, and we'll go straight to when you were sat, whether you were sat at home, you could have been in the car, sat in a restaurant, and you got the phone call or the tap on the shoulder to say, Sligo Rovers are interested in signing you and bringing you over on a trial. Do you remember that day?
Yeah, but listen, I remember exactly. It was one of my old coach, when I used to play for Tampa, and it's Paul Daglish, it's Kenny Daglish's son. He was my coach then. So he loved my game, and he was really pushing me while I was there, and I always want to thank him. And so he the one, kind of put in my head. As a kid, I always dreamed to be, playing Europe and stuff like that, you know. But I was having a great time in Tampa. Now, like I said, American Soccer in the NCL League. But it's crazy because I was talking to him and I was like, man, I want to, pursue my career overseas. And then he was like, man, I got a friend of mine. He's a head coach in Ireland, actually in Sligo. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I like to go. He was like, I can't contact him. He can just bring you in, at least for the preseason, So Paul Cook was his friend then. And it's funny, the story is so funny though, because around that time, Paul Cook was on his way to go to England, back to England. So, so me, when he told me that, of course, we worked things out. He contacted Paul Cook, and Paul Cook said he wasn't gonna be there, but still, he wanted me to come in. And I'm pretty sure that Jerry Carr was there, and who was there around that time? Of course, Joseph was there. I don't remember exactly who was the coaching staff then. So they, so I just went there. You know what I mean? So it wasn't, nobody knew what was gonna happen because the main guy, wasn't there. You know what I mean? Everything was up to me and God, first of all, to make things happen. But thank God, you know what I mean. So I impressed the coaching staff and the president, and also, the coach who was being by a club. You know what I mean. So they ended up signing me. So that was a great moment, to be honest with you.
And your first thoughts then of moving to Sligo. So you're going from Tampa, you're going from nice weather to bad weather. You're going from A to Z basically. From two completely different ends of the spectrum, and coming to Sligo. Like, what was your first thoughts when you came to Sligo, when you came to the showgrounds and just saw everything?
So listen, around that time, man, listen, it was because I was already playing football years professional, and I was a part of the national team and all that stuff, though. So again, for me, it was all about the opportunity, you know what I mean, and go there and impress myself, enjoy the game, enjoy the beautiful game. I didn't know how the weather gonna look like, I heard people. Give me one second, gotta let my go. And so yeah, I got the opportunity, and I was like, you know what? I don't care what it's gonna take, and I think I'm just gonna take my chance to just do what I got to do. Is to just play the game. But I don't think there was anything about the weather. Of course, from Haiti, moved to Florida, and then you go to Sligo. Man, I didn't know what I was expecting in Sligo, to be honest. Until I actually went there, and then I see everything myself with what people was talking about, about the weather, man. It was, listen, man, I remember exactly my experience in the preseason. What game was it? We play away game, and I didn't play that much. So the game that actually I come up, I impressed the fans and of course the staff, was the game that it was hell coming down that game. It was so freaking cold. I remember against Athlon, it was so cold. That's when I scored, wicked goal. I remember, so right foot goal, just bend that over. So, and I was like, I tell myself when it started raining, I was like, oh my God, is it really happening right now? I was like, this is not fun at all. You know what I mean? But I was like, man, I gotta keep moving. So when I'm moving, the thing, the hell hitting in my face and all that stuff, man. But honestly, it was a great experience. It was freezing cold, but guess what, man? There was a start of the journey, and I think I got my best time, in my time that I spent 2 seasons. The time that I spent in Sligo was one of the best times, man.
I'm just going to break away from Sligo for a second because you did mention coming from Haiti to Florida. You moved as a teenager, if I'm right in saying that. But like you were with Sligo Rovers in 2012, and it's only a few years after, obviously, what happened in your home country at the time. Just
Right.
talk to me about that, and you being away from home and seeing all this happening.
Well, listen, there was that time was really exciting, sad time, man. Um, so for me, when I was, I was growing up in Haiti, half and half. You know what I mean? Half in Haiti, half in Florida. 2010, and I remember exactly. And I think I can tell myself I'm gifted because that same day I was supposed to be in Haiti. I was supposed to be in the middle of everything that same day. And I think God just played his, have a plan for me. And he just get to, that was, one of the awful news. I think I just, that's 3 days without not heard anything from my family and the loved one, the friends and stuff like that. Only thing I was watching and try to keep up with CNN and all that stuff, you know what I mean? So to try to see what's going on around that time. Man. But it wasn't a good, it was a, really tough moment for me because, remember everybody, most of my family was in Haiti that time. And, so for stuff like that happened, what's funny though, because the time that I, I was supposed to go home, I was supposed to go to Haiti that same day. And then, my college coach, well, I was in university then, he changed my plane tickets to come to represent the school. But I was nominated for, player of the year. That time he was like, man, you got to go represent the school. Can you just change, we can change your flight for a different day, so can you just go ahead and do that? I was like, well, no problem. And what I mean? So I wasn't fight with it. I think there was a God plan. I wasn't fight because there was me going back home 7 years later. All right. That means that time I was supposed to be mad. I was supposed to be angry because, he told me I was supposed to say no. But I did not say no around that time because, that's how God worked. So I was like, okay, no problem. But the same time I landed down, when I landed in Tampa, I was in Fort Lauderdale, landed in Tampa. When I landed in Tampa, that's when I got a phone call from my best friend. And then he was like, yo, did you see what's going on? I was like, well, I was in the plane. I don't know what's going on, though. He was like, I just landed. I said, yeah, I know. But there was a earthquake just happened in Haiti. I was like, what? I was like, what do you mean earthquake? So for me, I think it was impossible for a earthquake to hit, the country and it killed so many people. But of course, man, I, I tell them, okay, hold on, I gotta find out. So I hang up the phone and I just Google it and I see all the news, man. It was awful feelings. And then I try to get rich to my family and I can't get in touch with anybody around that time. So it was really, really, painful 3 days of, I think it was the most painful day of my life, since I've been, that was crazy.
Yeah, it's a real. The fact you have the connection, obviously, with Haiti, it's a real "where were you" sort of a question, and do you remember where you were on the day? And I'm glad I asked you that. But to get back to happier thoughts, happier days in Sligo, coming into the dressing room on the first day, I've seen videos, and even from going to the games when I was younger, yourself and Joseph and Doe had a great connection and a great bond. Was he just the first man that took you under his wing, so to say, when you came into the dressing room?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. I mean, I remember exactly um, my first day in Sligo in the preseason. So Joseph pretty much like I said, this is on my journey, man. It was a blessing journey that I had, man. And Joseph impressed me. It's funny because we speak French. He speaks French. He's from Cameroon. I speak French, and we were talking, and then he was making fun at me, and he was like, "Man, you come in the wrong time." No coach. You know what I mean? He was just like, oh, he was like, how's that gonna happen? You know what I mean? Like he was like the guy that at the same time he was pushing me. He was like, man, you a little special kid. You're a little special player, man. I like you. You know what I mean? He was talking to me to try to make me feel welcome, trying to make me feel uncomfortable, because he know that around that time, there's no coach. And for a kid like me, chasing a dream, just trying to have, try to, get into the team and all that stuff, man. He was really open his arm and try to get me and hug me and try to get me going, man. So, but again, I was really, thankful for him, as a big brother and stuff, and he was believing me as a player. What I mean? First of all, he was, a human kind, and how he was really, open his door for me and try to talk me and then teach me a lot, but I thank him for that.
Hmm. Just go into your first game then. So obviously I shared the clip yesterday of your goal, and like I think the majority of Sligo Rovers fans that were there that day, not to say anything against the goal you scored, but we'll all remember the celebration at least. You remember the feeling, like it's a special goal where you pull out a celebration like that, but that feeling when, because you came into the club and you were known straight away, like, Pascal Millien's here, and you just had this bit of flair about you, and you also had a smile on your face, which really resonated with the fans as well. You're feeling then, your name being shouted and the goal and the celebration and everything. Just describe that for me.
Well, let me tell you something, man. Every time somebody asks me that question, the first goal, and I can't, it's funny. I have to let him know how that happened. You know what I mean? It's funny. You know what I mean? So it's nothing to hide. So I remember exactly that day that I scored that goal. And I've been doing great. I've been coming on and off in the game. I don't have enough playing time because he ain't buying clubs. Because I was away, for like a month. You know what I mean? Because of the work permit and all that stuff. Yeah. So when I joined the team, it was because I have to fight for my spot anyway. So I put the work in every day. What's funny though? What's funny is it's because the way that I remember Ian was about to make me. I was about to come in. It was probably like 5 minutes left in the game. So he called Danny Vendry, our captain. All right, shout out for my captain. He called him over. He said, "Hey," because I was right next to him, just tying my shoes. Yeah. So he told him that, "Hey, listen." He told him that, "Hey, listen. Pascal been doing good in training. And I'm about to put him on for a little bit. Just to let him go." That right away, that stuck in my head. First thing I said, and I'm gonna make that 5 minutes count. That's the first thing I said to my head. I was like, "This is what I love." I think there was a motivation part for me, and for me to get this going. But lucky, God blame. That's what it basically. The emotion, the way I felt, and I was crying inside. That was how happy I was. I was crying because I was like, God is great. God is great. So, remember, 5 minutes left in the game. But the game was funny. The game was like 2-1, I believe. I think we was winning that game. But the goal that I scored, everybody was stayed up, and it was electric. Everybody was, crazy, going crazy. And, of course, I just do my celebration. I think it was my introduction to the fans. Since then, things changed with my, my lovely fans in Sligo. Love them, for the rest of my life. And I've been playing this game. And I want to thank them because they've been great to me. And no question asked. I think they're one of the best men, all my life, to be honest, in my career.
You go from in that same season, you go from that goal, your first goal, and the reaction from the crowd. You can even see it in your face when you're talking about it, the memory that it brings back for you.
Oh, man.
Later on in the season, then winning the league in Sligo against St. Pat's. Talk me through that.
Hey, listen, I think that time that I become the one of the big aspect in the team, and the big aspect and to the team, and so now everybody start believing me. The gaffer start believing me and all that stuff. So it was a big transition around that time. Going to the season. All we were doing is winning games. But remember, we win the league probably like a month and a half before season's over. Because we have a great team. I think that's the best team I ever played, you know. But that day against St. Pat, man, get the ladder in the bag. The ladder. You know, that day against St. Pat is a moment I will never forget in my life. That was, goosebump on me. But day before the game, I was fine. I was feeling good. It's a beautiful day. That's the moment. The glory is here. We gotta go. We gotta go. No fear. We gotta go and have fun, enjoy the moment. But the way the game start to finish, I remember Sis Rock scored an amazing goal I have seen. I mean, of course, the legendary Rock Patel. But the way the game play around, you know what I mean? Rock goal end up with Quig's penalty kick was amazing. You know what's funny? I don't even know what was going on. And then when I come off in the second half, and then so I can't take it in the bench. I was like, man, I gotta go inside the locker room. So I was in the dugout, like when you're coming out, and then I was right there praying when Quigley was taking the penalty kick. I was praying, and next thing I know, they said, "That's a penalty. We got a penalty." I was like, "What?" Yeah, and then boom, Quigley scored the penalty, man. I think that moment, it was just like, man, this is what I was playing this game for, to win the league. 35 years later, that was the moment for me. When I see the people, or old people crying, the cheer of joy and all that stuff, man. And I was like, man, I fell in love. I'm in love. So that was it, man.
Your time at Rovers, like, just the memories that you've given there, like, and you spoke about, it's amazing stuff, and it's great to see the reaction that you have to it. So I've got 10 names here in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 10 people's names, and they're all connected with Sligo Rovers. And so when I say the name, you give me the first thing that comes to mind, the first thing you think of when I say that name. So first off, we'll go with Raf Gurtaro.
Legend, great guy, a teammate to have in your team, and he's a freaking goal scorer, man.
Is there a special memory with Raf?
Oh, and I told you, the memories is scored a goal against St. Pat. That's the first thing that came to my head. The nutmeg and then the finish is class. It was class. You know what I mean? So that's one thing I will always remember. The way he was finished that goal. Man, that's like Suarez for me.
Yeah. The second name here for you, your manager at the time, Ian Barraclough.
I think it was a good gap for me. I think it was a good gap for me. And I think it was me and him who wasn't really getting along, really, honestly. And I think he done his job. And I think he got caught up, but again, he was a humble guy. And he was trying to get the job done, but that was on his way. But at the end of the day, I think he done an amazing job for the time that he's been.
Number 3, Alan Keane.
My captain, yeah, it was your right back to play with. It was a right back to play. He always give me a hard time, man. Yeah, that was a guy that he always was willing to fight and then give everything out there, man. He was a fighter.
Number 4, Gavin Pierce.
Cool.
Gavin Pierce.
My big head, hey, my center back. Yeah, that was leader. Guy that always anything coming in his head, he's gonna kill you. Yeah. He was no fear for him. Yeah, was a great leader and a good fighter too.
Number 5, Danny North.
Gold machine. Yeah, it was a gold machine.
So you had, like, in that season with Danny North, just to stick on him, he got injured like a certain way through the season, and he was doing so well in the goal scoring. That must have been a difficult time for the team.
Oh yeah. I feel his pain, man. I feel his pain. He's a guy that, he's not a guy that we're gonna do, physically gonna just, always walking out. But again, he was the guy, man. He always down to finish team. Whenever he played, he give everything out there. He was all about scoring goals. You know, it was all about scoring goals. He was doing his part. That's why the team won. You know, players who want to score goals. But I mean, you know, see him going through that pain that he need, man. It was, you know, it was heartbreaking. But again, at the end of the day, man, he was you know, a striker to have in your team, man. So shoot, this guy don't play around.
The next name then, and I think it's quite fitting that it comes after Danny North, the man that scored that penalty against St. Pat's and took over a lot of the goal scoring, was Mark Quigley.
Mark, man, listen, Mark was for me was one of the skillful guy that I know played in Sligo. And you know what's funny? Me and Mark plays a striker for a couple games for, you know, I think that's one of the best guys I play with up top. I remember he scored a goal off me against Shams. I don't know if you see that goal. And I chest Joseph chipped me the ball. I chested for him. He just did one-time volley. And then he just was an amazing player to play with. But you know, everybody have their own personality. You know, at the end of the day, I think this guy, man, I think he can do better as a player. And then he always have so much on him, but you know, so that's what it is. That was his time. But I think it was one of the great players that I played with. And I was humble to play, you know.
You spoke about the penalty as well, and like that's obviously a standout moment in your memory of him, probably the standout moment that you have of him. But when you've got, like, painting the picture, you've got however many 5,000 fans around the showgrounds watching this game. You're that nervous yourself that you've got to go into the tunnel, and then Mark Quigley steps up for a penalty, and he does like a little stutter, and he does another one, and then he still manages to score.
Well, listen, he wasn't one of the guys. He was all about calm down. He was, the way he was playing all season long, he was a laid back guy. He was just, you know, no pressure. He was just doing his thing. You know what I mean? So I can picture anybody in that team that moment would take a penalty beside him. But he was a guy that he's just chill. He's a chill guy. You know what I mean? He no pressure. He don't care about what other people say. And he was just doing his part. But I think he was the perfect guy then in that moment, you know, just try to get the job done.
Number 7, your captain at the time, Danny Ventry.
What a freaking soldier. Yeah, he was the captain. But you know, I tell you what, man, I never understood this guy when he was talking fast with your Liverpool accent. But I was asking, what the heck did you say, buddy? I don't understand anything, but he was talking so fast with his accent. But guess what, man? I love this guy, man. He was one of the captains. He was there for the team, you know, always pushing me and always trying to get the best out of me every time, man. But he was a leader. He was a leader, you know what I mean? I think he was a captain for a reason, you know, not just on the field, but off the field. He always there for you and then try to make you feel comfortable and then, you know, try to get the job done. So at the end of the day, man, and he was, you know, the great guy.
The third last name here, and he just recently actually re-signed for Sligo Rovers, Richard Brush.
I think he was one of the funniest guys I ever come across. He was one of the silliest guys ever. This guy was doing things that I was like, what the heck are you doing, Brush? But at the end of the day, he was a great human being. Always down to have fun, always down to do, you know, make people laugh and, you know, give jokes. At the end of the day, man, great goalkeeper. He was doing his job, and I mean, I'm happy when I saw that. I was like, Bush is going back again. I think that was his third time, fourth time, and same time. But again, man, he was a great guy, man, great leader too. But again, he's always, you know, joking and, you know, have fun and of course winning games. That's what he was about.
The second last name on the list, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, you spoke about Mark Quigley's goal against Shamrock Rovers. I think this man might have scored that day as well. David Cawley.
Hey, listen, my man David Cawley. Listen, I remember we signed the same year. Me and him signed the same day. We signed a contract, and I think was one of the special guys. Relaxed, quiet, you know, get the job done. You know what I mean? Improving every game, every season, willing to learn. You know, never disrespect nobody, and always, you know, just get the job done. And I think, you know, I was really pleased out of him, man, and I can call him my brother because me and him we always chat. Again, it was a great kid, man. Great soccer player and great human being around the world. But I think he just he got what you need in the player, to go in the field, get the job done as a midfielder. Can't pass, can't shoot. As you can see, he scored many great goals for Sligo. Play midfield position, but of course, man, he was a great human being.
And the final name, I think you could have guessed who I'm going to talk about here and ask you about. Joey and Doe.
Joe, my big brother for life, leader. I mean, I don't know how to describe him. I have to go look it up in my phone right now in dictionary to find a perfect word. Or I can make a word for him. He was Joselito. That's what I can call him. So he was the guy that he welcomed me to Sligo. On and off the pitch, he's always giving me a hard time. He's always there for me. He's always trying to help me improve my games. At the end of the day, he was everybody you want to play with. So Joseph, he's the leader on and off the field. He was a father. You know what I mean? Like I said, he become a father. There's so much, everybody who play with Joseph, can tell you, man, this guy, he's a great guy. Not even he's a legend. This guy can, the way he played the game, he's like Xavi Iniesta. You know what I mean? That's how I see Joseph. He do things that, okay, Joseph, he's a more calm down guy. I gotta say this. I remember one game we played, and on the midfield, Ian Brian Clark kept telling Joseph, you need to be careful in the middle, whenever we play from the back. Joseph have the ball, and people pressuring Joseph. Joseph to the back here, to the goalkeeper. That's nice and easy. I was like, man, everybody was looking at him. I was like, hey, he's Joseph. Listen, he's just doing his thing. I mean, he was doing things his way. It's funny, in my second season there, this guy never trained. He's training on his own. He's a beast. You know what I mean? He's a beast. And the most thing I love about him is the fact that he was there for everybody. For every player to play around him, he would try to make you feel better. And of course, man, he's a legend. And he was my mentor. He was my teammates. And of course, man, he was a big brother to me, man. I love to death.
Got two final questions for you, Pascal. A lot of the questions that people sent in have been answered already. They've been answered already. So I've got two final questions for you. The first one is, so Sligo is a town that you got a lot of soccer going on, but you got Gaelic football and hurling as well. Did you get to experience Gaelic football or hurling? Did you get to go to any games?
Yes. I went to probably two of them when I was there. You know what I mean? I didn't know much going on. I don't know the rules. And I think I got a few days off. There was no league. There was a break, and then I went to watch it. But it was fun. You know what I mean? It was really tough. A lot of running. It was fun, and I enjoyed it. And of course, when I was, I used to live in Riverstown, and those guys used to play around. So I used to, when I walk around, when I'm not doing anything, I used to see those guys play sometimes. But it was, a sport. Only in Ireland I saw this, but it was fun to watch. To be honest, it was fun to watch.
And your final question, it's a question that I'm told to ask all sports people on the podcast. Your favorite pair of football boots?
Oh, the Vapors. Oh yeah, the Vapors. I remember, I have my first, Vapors boots. Whew. Man, the boots feel like I'm enlightened. You know me, I was about the speed, big people. When I put the Vapors, man, I was like, man, this is my boots. I used to wear Adidas, right? So when I put the Vapors in, I was like, man, no more Adidas for me. This is over. You know what I mean? Vapors was always going to be my favorite boots ever.
That's episode number 54 wrapped up. Pascal Millien, thank you very much for joining me in the podcast.
Man, thank you, man. I appreciate you, man. Thank you, man. I hope you keep going doing what you're doing, and man. And it's been a pleasure, man. And I want to share all my love to my Sligo people. You guys already know the love I have for you guys, man. My Sligo, teammates, old teammates, the one who's there right now. Good luck in the season, man. May God bless you guys, man. Always stay warm. All right.